Hello and welcome to Magrathea Builder of Worlds. This is part 2 of the Rogue Docks and Slop Shop build. There it is. Now before I start, some technical news. There is a new camera arriving this week. All of my videos so far have been made on my phone, and the one thing that every now and then gets commented on is how annoying autofocus is. And yes, I've still not found a way of turning off the autofocus on my phone. So sod it, I've got a new video camera coming. So halfway through this video, this part of this build, you might even notice a difference. If not, I hope you notice a difference going forward. Right, this is where we're at. This is where I got to at the end of the last video. Now all the glue is completely dried. I've got this concrete looking lump. I'm actually really quite pleased with this as it goes. Looks quite nice from lots of different angles. Here's the slop shop, that needs equipping. Here is the dock surgery. Take that roof out there. That's going to need equipping as well. The first part of this video is going to be about the detailing. I have ordered a Rogue dock from Forge World. I've also ordered a dude from the Gene Stealer cult. I can't remember what it's called. He might actually convert into a Rogue dock as well. I might kind of like have a toss up. I might have two, who knows. And then of course there's this little fella here. There's the Forge World rattling slopper. He's going to be working downstairs. So the first part of this video then is going to be the detailing of the model. Then it's going to be priming and painting, and then adding some of those details, because I'm probably going to do make the details separate and then stick them on after the main model is painted. But to start off with, we have to go digging through the cack, diving into the bits box. I have to thank my mate Ben for producing that graphic for me, and yes, I might even end up with that on a t-shirt. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to go diving into the bits box. A bits box is all these drawers, all these things over here, full of various junk and stuff. Some selected bits here. I'm going to be finding bits off the 40k scenery sprues, and then anything else I can that will help me equip both the slop shop and the dock surgery. Digging through the cack. So come with me and we're going to go and dig through the cack. Okay, so digging through the cack then, what have we got? This is a selection of cack, not the whole thing. Oh, boxes and boxes of the stuff. But what I'm looking for really is stuff that I might be able to use in the slop shop and in the docks surgery. Now, I've got the odd thing looking around that'll be perfect for things like the dock surgery, because I've got other components from other models. For example, look, there's a complete medic's bed. I can't remember who produces that, but that's going to go straight in the model. Didn't use that for a secret agent project for schools stuff that I do. That's going to go into the docks, definitely. I want stuff for the slop shop. There's half an oil drum. I wonder if I can find the other. If I can find the other bit, I'll find another oil drum off a sprue. Of course, I can cut out the other end. Oil drum barbecue would be really cool. Oh yeah, look, check that out. Okay, this is one of those supports for Promethean pipe. I reckon if I put, can you get that down there? Isn't close enough. Let's find something that's. Yeah, I'll put that up there. I reckon I'm going to stick that little fella on there like that, get the other end. I can make a oil drum barbecue. That'll be cool. We all like that. It's quite a good size for the slopper too, so that'll work quite well. Zoom that in. I'm really sorry about the autofocus on this, everybody, but there we go. Look, actually, this is pretty cool. My wife uses this stuff for eyes for fursuits. But cut that out, grid on the top, some of some of this stuff inside it, that'll work perfectly well. Charcoal, whatever, fuel in the bottom of it, and we'll have a barbecue, oil drum barbecue. That'd be quite neat. That's quite good. We'll stick that over to one side with a little slopper. We need stuff to go on it. Food and things. Oh look, there's old school old school Necromunda figures in. Actually, that's a rat just from Warhammer. But I've got the odd. There's a Ripperjack. Original Necromunda Ripperjack. If I had that hanging upside down, hanging from the roof somehow, I need to find a way of suspending stuff from the roof. That would be pretty cool. I could have rats and other animals, lizards from Warhammer as well. Go on, focus on that, you little bugger. There you go. I could have something like that hanging up as well. So my slopper could have an entire array of different kinds of meats. That would be pretty neat. So spiky bits off. Chaos tank conversion kits. Bits of Dark Eldar Raider. I wonder if I could use that as a bed. Hello, I guess bits there. Chop bits of that up to make bits of bed. Oh, that's cool. Right, okay, that'll do. Look, here we go. Talk about diving around in the cack. Digging in the cack. This is a piece of a perfect example of never throwing anything away. This is a tiny bit of rat cage, or actually it was platform. It was the platform that rats would live on. Cut up and used. I've used other bits of this for other models, and that, I think, come over here with me. I reckon if I stick this up into the polystyrene, which is the advantage of working with polystyrene, that'll sit up like that, and then I can hang some of those carcasses off it, which would be perfect. So it's Wednesday today. I think this is day 4 or 5 of this model. Have actually had to do some proper work in the meantime, accounts and stuff, so this hasn't gone quite as quickly as I thought it would do, but it has given me a day or so to wait for these 2 kits to arrive. This one from Forge World. This is the new Rogue Doc. I might use her up top, although I did also see this, the Biophagus from the Gene Stealer cult, who looks suspiciously doctory to me as well. And I don't think it'll be too difficult to turn into a Rogue Doc either. Swap his head out probably, so he's not quite as a Gene Stealer, baldy, big dome head. And obviously cut all the Gene Stealer kind of tags off, but some of this stuff, that looks pretty cool for a Rogue Doc. So that might end up on this model as well. We'll have to see. Oh, cool. Right, so cack mostly dug through. Now we're going to have a look at some of the things that I've made. Come down here. Cool. So now the advantage of being an old fogey like me is you get to have some cool stuff in your bits box if you're still going, and various things of some interest. Here is the counter that I'm going to have in the front of my slop shop. Now this is made up of, let's have a look, it's got an ammo crate here, that's new, and a wing flap from an Orc bomber there making the countertop. I've got a couple of different weapons there, unsheathed knives and stuff. I've taken 2 grenades from an Orky plastic Orc grenade launcher here, cut the tops off, and they've kind of become bottles. Can't focus on that, look, there we are. Over there, and then on this side over here, an old flat Warhammer shield. Makes quite a nice platter, and there's some meat joints on there courtesy of some Kroot from the Tower Range. I've had them for 18 years or so, which is quite cool. So that's quite neat. That's going to go inside, go in the front of my slop shop kit. I've also, there you go, that's that barbie I was talking about making. There's a barbecue on the stand with the barrel and the grid top, and you'll just have to take my word for it. There's fuel inside there, but that works quite nicely too. Oh, there, this is really cool. This is a vent thing from the Promethean Forge, and some old spiky bits from a, I suppose it must have been a 40k Chaos tank conversion kit. There's a spike on that one, the rest of it. But this is the pièce de résistance. This is old hammer. That is the joint of meat on a spit from the old dwarf goblobber catapult from Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Well, 3, probably 3 into edition 4. And it came with a dwarf chef who was cooking over a spit roasted fire. So that now is going to be my spit roasted dubious meat over a hot air vent, which is also going to go in the slop shop. This is going to be a snazzy joint, I've got to say. I'm very pleased with this. That piece of metal rat cage I found, just knocking around, that's quite nice now. I'll take him a ripper jack and fold it over the lead of his tail, and he's going to hook up like this. And I've done the same with the lizard that I've from an old Lizard Man kit. Look, there we go. I've cut his base off and hooked his tail, so I'm going to hang him up as well. Here we have close-up and progress on the Rogue Doc surgery up the top. Now we got stuff mostly, so look at the back wall first of all. On the back wall, then we have got a couple of monitors and some power generating stuff and things. So the back wall now is kind of like paintable and more interesting. Then to go in here, we've got that table I was talking about earlier. Yeah, so that's got the floor plate now is off the top of that chimera bit. Let's focus that there, look. There we go. And then we got, you can see various bits and pieces there. I'm not going to tell you what they all are. Come on, you're geeky enough to know what that is. Surely you know where this piece is from. Got some knives and a plasma thing there. A couple of different kind of knives for getting in and out of dealing around when operating. So that's going to sit there. And I'm probably going to, I might stick that down. But I might also keep that loose because I want to be able to move things around during games. There's this bed, of course, that I pointed out earlier. That is what it is. So that's just going to end up kind of like sitting in the side here. So what I've got going on at the minute is fair amount of detail, but quite a lot of floor space as well. This is a little box with kit on it. There's a blowtorch there and a bionic arm that we're working on, the Doc's working on, and this is just going to go on there. I'm hoping that's going to stick on here now. I'm going to hold that, stick that, that's that glue on both sides. There's a big circular saw on a gantry on a rig that's going to go over the bed, obviously used for chopping bits off patients and that kind of thing. That's probably about as far as I'm going to go. I might add the odd extra little bottle of bits and pieces, but to be quite honest, that's about as much detail as I want to put in there. There's plenty to be getting on with. Quite clearly it's a surgery, but not too much to get in the way of the models. I'll have to just put the Doc together, but there's my ubiquitous Orlock ganger in the surgery. It's a shame, we've got plenty of room to move around. Well, that's the next stage of the model done then. I could spend ages and ages and ages just adding more and more details to this. And I'm almost certainly going to come back and add more. I really do want to take some time to add some detail to the slop house bunk room here, and maybe the stores. I might put some stores and bits and pieces under there, but essentially I've now got as much detail as this needs. I'm really pleased with this. Sand, stones, it's going to give a nice rock surface. There's enough detail. There's enough detail on the blocky bit with all the Promethean pipes and bits and pieces. It's going to make an interesting texture to paint. Doc surgery with its permanent bit stuck in, the big chainsaw, the big saw, love that. And then all the bits, I've added a ladder on the outside here to get up easily there. Got the staircase around the back, of course. And then I've got all the bits down here that are going to need to be painted separately. There's my poor little slopper who actually hasn't been stuck together properly yet, and I haven't even taken the Rogue Doc out of a pack, but they're going to come out. Waiting for the main model paint to dry, so this evening we're going to be painting some detail stuff and sticking together a Rogue Doc. And then we're going to get on the actual main paint job. The main paint job is now been primed black and has got metallics on it, which are now drying. Now on season 3 of Battlestar Galactica, this features disc 1, episode 1, with what's called the Leah Dharma workout and diet, where everybody who's slightly overweight wishes they could lose weight as quickly as Leah Dharma does in the start of season 3 of Battlestar Galactica. Not that I'm jealous at all. Anyway, cracking on with the model making. Okay, kit bashing figures, not something I do very often, but I've got the Forge World Rogue Doc. She's very cool. I quite fancy doing something with this What's it called? Biophagus from Gene Stealer Cult. I mean, if that isn't a doc, then, you know, I don't know what the hell is, frankly. But I don't want a Gene Stealer domey head, and the legs a bit clunky, and I quite like the idea of having a female rogue doc. So I'm using bits of Escher figure and the body of the Biophagus here, and his arms and stuff, and I'm going to see what I can come up with. Might be interesting. Right, so I scrapped my first plan. The Escher legs just weren't working out and the boots look silly. But what I have now got is my own rogue doc, and he is a right mash-up of things. I'll stick a full-on Orlock next to him to show how big he is. He's a little bit shorter. He's got Vansar legs. He's got an Orlock head. He's got the Biophagus body and backpack, but I've used the rogue doc arms. So the rogue doc is going to become another civilian. However, I think it's quite cool. By the time he's painted up, he'll look alright. A little shorter than other denizens in the Underhive, but hey, there are loads of people down there who are twisted and odd and weird. And I think he's going to look fine in his new surgery. Okay, so here we have primed and also done metallic colours. Again, this has been a black matte primer with that same Kia silver that I used. And then it's also had the same copper spray on it too. And now all I've got to really do is dirty it up. I'm really pleased with how cool this themed block with this great square pattern on it has come out. That looks pretty cool. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with the fact that this is going to look, I think it's going to look quite concretey. There was somebody commented on the last video that polystyrene cut up always looks like cut up polystyrene, and well, you know, I mean, to a certain degree, yes, because we know what it's made from, but actually that hasn't got the distinctive kind of cut shapes that I think a lot of polystyrene stuff has. And with all that sand on it, this is just going to look like concrete. It's mostly all going to go grey now. So yeah, on with the painting. I'm pretty pleased with that. So I am about to paint that, and I think I'm going to use a lot of this. What is an added bonus with the way I made this, and I like to say it was entirely intentional, but I don't think it necessarily was that I didn't seal the polystyrene with PVA Mod Podge until after I'd put these metal plates on, which means as I've sprayed through with the primer, what's happened is it's dissolved the top layer of all of the polystyrene, which means it's dropped away from underneath the grid. So there's actually a clear gap between the grids and the rock underneath, which is really cool. I'm really pleased about that. So that's worked out quite nicely. Played 4 and got, he lied. I love the model making, but actually I always talk about the fact I'm not so much into painting, and I am a lazy painter, but what I do like about the painting is it really starts to bring the whole thing to life. I had to decide whether I was going to paint this whole thing grey and leave it grey and then paint out the metallics, or do what I did, which is spray paint all the metallics and then put all the rock in later. So at the minute I'm putting all the rock in, just a base coat of Mechanicus grey, which I'm going to dry brush up from that, leaving the metal floors, even that's coming out quite well. In some cases not enough glue on some of this stonework, might need a bit more sealing with a PVA glue over the top of it. This is only a quick brush, give me some kind of definition of what I've got. I've got to get in under there now, do all that, but even so, even at this early stage, it's starting to look, you can see the different areas, the different textures, which is pretty neat. This is going to be an interesting model when it's finished. This is Thursday night. It's about day 5 then of this model build. You can see the
paint job is coming on. It's fairly basic at the minute. And actually what it is showing is how crucial it's going to be to get these detail pieces interested in colour form painted up so they stand out against the big areas of the actual building. So from that point of view, there's still a bit to go, but I'm aiming to get this finished painted tomorrow night. So one more night should do it. Detail and bits and pieces. Most of the main part of the model is just dry brushing, so from that point of view it doesn't take that long. But actually I think that's going to look pretty cool in there. So its lid on. Gets darker, but that they will have LED lights there, and there's no corner bit here at the minute, which will also block off stuff a bit. Right, calling that a night for tonight. Okay, so I want to try and get this model pretty much finished today. Looks disgusting outside today, pouring down rain, but I'm indoors, so it's fine. So first thing I'm going to do is dirty up all the metal, and then I want to need some other colours, lighter colours on the concrete and the rock. Then I need to detail, finish the details, paint and pick all that out, and then lighting, and then we'll be complete. So best I crack on, because I haven't got time to talk to you people. So detail painting is coming on quite nicely. This is what the fixed bits in the Doc surgery look like now. They're all on the wall, and then I've got Slop shop and Doc stuff here. I'm going to pause for a minute though. That's kind of waiting, dry brushing this, because before I do things like hang up carcasses in the ceiling, I've got to get this light sorted out, because I'm not going to be able to get my hand in here otherwise when I've got loads of other cack in there. So I'm going to have to work out how I'm going to hang this light system up, and how much I'm going to use. So that's the next trick. I think I have to put the camera back on the tripod for this bit. So I'm going to move all my detail stuff to one side, which is good because it gives it time to dry anyway. And we're going to have a fiddle with the lights. Okay, so this is the light I'm using. Like I said, it's a wine bottle garland type thing, which is pretty cool. It's got all these LEDs on it that light up, and I'm going to put these into the Slop shop. So what I want to do is work a few down the hole that I've already cut into it. That was in the last video. Come on, you filly little so-and-so. Drop that straight down. Pretty cool. I'm really quite pleased with how well this is going to light up. What I've got to do is work out how many lights I want down the hole, and how on earth I'm going to attach them to the roof. Hey. Okay, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to plug, my idea is that plugs in there, and these guys are just going to sit loose up here, with that sitting on the top, so that will glow out there. And these fillers I want to attach to the roof, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. I need staples from a staple gun, really. That would be the best way to do it. Staple that up there, staple that up there, because that'll then give me wires and lights. Actually, and we can see this. I'm going to pull this one through so it's up higher, so I haven't got a light there. And there we go. Staples would be the absolute ideal thing. I wonder if I can make that work. Okay, so one advantage with using polystyrene for making this is the fact that you can stick stuff in it. So I'm using, my solution is to use dressmaking pins like I've used for other things, flat-headed ones, because I could stick them up into the polystyrene and they'll hold the lights in place pretty well. So that's what I'm going for. We'll see what happens. I'm engaging smug mode now because I'm really pleased with this. Check this out. This is that bottle garland of LEDs. I've used dressmaker's pins, pinned up the wire into the ceiling. You can hardly see them at all, but I've got there a whole bunch of LED lights in that area there. They go down around the corner. The cool thing is, of course, it doesn't matter if the wire's visible because, you know, it's wiring, that's fine. But what it does do is it lights up that whole area. That's going to look brilliant when I get everything in it. I'm really, really pleased with that. Great solution. I'm going to have to buy more of those. So this is the roof section for the dock surgery, and it's got two of these LED button holders in, which are quite neat because you just pull the LED out and it goes off. If you turn it upside down, of course the button lights are the battery's going to fall out, but that's quite cool. So they're kind of going to do that. And again, it's quite an effective lighting ploy. Granted, you see the LEDs, but let's just zoom in there. They're going to give a really cool lit effect in that area there. I like that a lot. So I'm not too worried about the fact the LEDs are showing up there, because they're kind of like decent size scale light anyway. So by the time I start packing all the detail bits in there, the bed one, what have you, and the other, the Bionics, and the like, it's going to all look pretty cool. I'm nearly done with this model now. I'm getting a bit impatient, to be quite honest, with the paint job. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm getting towards the end. I want to start adding just the final details and getting bits and pieces done, so I can get this one complete and move on to another idea. I need to paint the rogue dock and the slopper, but that isn't necessarily required for actually kind of like the model to be finished. I just want it to look cool in photographs and things. So I'm calling this model pretty much finished. There is an awful lot more actually in faith I could do to it. I could add so much more detail to this. I've had some really interesting conversations this week with a number of different subscribers who suggested, oh, you need more rubbish on it, you need more junk. I could. I'm very tempted to go back to all of these pieces and add more stuff. There's loads of scope on this model for more details. I want bits of body outside the dock surgery. I want kind of food junk and all sorts of things around about the place. There's loads of opportunity. You can go completely over the top, but what I've done so far in the space of a week, and this is the second build that's taken 2 weeks in general, and I've taken 1 week to do the first part, which is the video you watched last week, and then the second week. So these builds at the moment are taking 2 weeks long, and in that 2 week period, because I've got other things to do as well, I've made another 1 foot square tile to make up my Necromunda board, and it will go together, I think, really nicely with the other bits, and I'm starting to get stuff that looks like a table. So yes, I would love to go back when I've got a chunk of these done and add more details, some fine detail stuff, because it looks really cool, and I am one for videoing and photographing stuff up close. Having said that, I haven't got any Necromunda figures painted yet, apart from one rogue dock, who's okay, one rattling slopper, again, who's a alright kind of paint job, and the gun ammo jack that I've painted as well. So I haven't actually painted any gangers yet, but you know, we'll get there. So this model then, I'm really happy with this. Come and have a closer look, and we'll talk about some of the features in their finished state. All right, first of all then, we've got the rogue dock, Dr Shipman. I'll leave that to you to work out why he's Dr Shipman. I was going to call him Todd to go with the name of the slop shop, but Shipman because he was more prolific. If you don't know, Google it. Dr Shipman. Okay, the dock shop then, the rogue dock works surgery. I'm really pleased with this. There he is himself, converted up from a number of different figures, including that Gene Stealer, whatever it was. What's it called? It's still here. from a Gene Stealer Cult Biophagus, plus an Orlock head and Van Saar boots and arms of the Rogue Doc from Forge World. So that's kind of worked out all right. And I'm going to use the Rogue Doc figure with new arms for something else. So there's him for starters. That's Shipman himself. And then we've got these various details. There's a bionic arm he's working on. Yes, I know it looks a bit orky, but a blowtorch that goes with that. There's this med bed. I can't even remember who produces this, but it's quite nice. And that goes in there quite nicely. Plus this workbench, which has got all sorts of bits on it. Surgeon's knives and various other things. These things at the moment are all still completely loose. I've left them loose so I can move figures around inside and set up different photographs of bits and pieces, which is a bit of a pain in the bum in some ways because you can't do stuff that's not installed. But on the other hand, I think it gives a lot more flexibility to the model. And then, of course, on the back wall, let's move that so you see that a little bit better. We can see the various bits from the Necromunda scenery sprues and stuff, and my green LED lights. And although the LEDs are really obvious, I think they work really quite well there. The roof again is lift offable, so I can naturally light that if I want, or I could slide the roof backwards and forwards, which is quite cool from a photograph's point of view, because I can put the dock right in the green light and it looks kind of eerie, which is what I'm after a lot of the time anyway. So I'm very happy with that. It's got this barricade that goes across the front just to block him off a bit more. Give a bit of cover. We've got our body saw up here, a circular saw, which is quite neat too. And then, of course, this column, which has got his Shipman sign on the outside there. We go focusing there. Also then, obviously, covers up my light garland. The lights up downstairs. Right, let's have a look downstairs then. So downstairs is Lovett's Slop and Pies. It's a pie shop. Lovett, although he's a Mr. Lovett, I like the idea of the fact that any spare bits from the docks end up maybe on his table. Here he is down there, and we can see all in the detail there. There's enough lighting under there to light this stuff up. I really like this table here, counter with knives and bits and pieces on it. And the meat joints from the Kroot hunters. I've got various kind of like things, lizards and ripperjacks and rats, things hanging up for him to cook up. And then, of course, inside, let's lift this up if we can. We can see there's a roast joint and there's an oil drum barbecue back there. And right at the back over here is the cauldron from the Forge World set as well. And this lights up neatly with all the lighting that I've used from that garland. And the wires hanging down, I think, just add to the whole thing. So from that point of view, I'm really pleased. Then we got the rest of the model, of course. More posters and bits and pieces. One local gang, the Astro Punks, have laid claim to this place with some graffiti. I need to go back over that and make that even clearer. The Astro Punks were my original Goliath Necromunda gang from 1995. So I have no idea if I'm going to have a Goliath gang and if there'll be the Astro Punks, but I quite like that. Staircase in the concrete worked out pretty well. I quite like that. Where's my ubiquitous Orlock? Here he is. So the figures, some other old school figures too. They work perfectly well on there. And then round the back here on our heat sink kind of huge industrial unit, we've got this door down the bottom just down here, and then all this works quite nicely. There's plenty of opportunity then for gameplay on this. Barricades up the top, flat bits for putting figures on and climbing up ladders and that kind of thing. I'm really very happy with this. One guy viewing the last one said, polystyrene always looks like cut out polystyrene. And to a degree, I kind of think I agree with him because, polystyrene is polystyrene and we know that's the material we use. But I'd like to think, actually, that this isn't quite like that quite so much. It's not quite so harsh. The sand all over gives it quite a uniform look. I'm going for a kind of concrete look rather than stone. And I'm really quite pleased with that. Sometimes you can't get away from the materials that you're using at all, and even the stuff made from really high density foam still looks like cut out high density foam. So I hope you think that on the whole it's kind of worked. I certainly think it has. And here then is all 3 pieces of terrain I've made so far. This represents 6 weeks worth of work. And this is my Underhive Shopping Mall. So over here we've got Crocs, the drinking hole, we've got Shipman's, the Rogue Doc, and Lovett Slop Shop and Pies, and then over here we've got Sluggers, Guns and Ammo. That's 3 feet of table, which is already giving me loads of playable options. I could do in another 3 sections here, and then I'll have a 3 foot by 2 foot, which isn't very big for a game of Necromunda, but it's a really good start. So that's what I'm going to go for next. I'm going to go for another 3 sections that go across the front here. God knows what they're going to be. I'm not going to have a high street, so I need to start making other stuff. I've got one more set of kind of shops or traders to make. I want to use the Rogue Doc figure and convert her into something else, and that will be number 4. That's probably going to go over here maybe, but then 2 more, so I'm going to have to get myself some more Zone Mortalis tiles as well, because I've got one more. I've got 2 to use actually, but so I've got one more I'm going to need to find. But I'm really kind of happy with that. What I now need to do is make a couple of things that are extra high that can start to join some of these boards up in a couple of places, and we can play around with the modular nature of it all. But it's starting to look really quite cool. I'm very pleased with the way that this one fits in with the other 2, using the same kind of mix of paints on the metallics. I think helps tie it all together. So yeah, rather pleased with that. Yes, there are extra things that I could do to it. I could add stuff underneath the set of stairs for a start, or maybe around outside the back here of the docks. I want a few skulls and rib cages and bits and pieces have been chucked out, or maybe down below in the slop shop where they just haven't been cooked up. But I'm already starting to get to the point where I'm into making taking cool photographs and making little videos and bits and pieces. I'm going to get some really horrible really kind of cool pictures out of this as all this stuff all starts going together. Really tight alleys and things. So yeah, really pleased. I'm dead chuffed with that, even though I do say so myself. And this is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Straight away, that stuff all goes together really well. And even with old Necro figures like the Cordor and that Delac in the background, you're starting to get a really cool opportunity to make great videos and photographs. So that's what I'm aiming for, an overall general feel and look for this stuff. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. So there you go, that's the Rogue Docks and Slop Shop all on one terrain piece. Thanks very much for watching. I love it, the fact I've got so many people now starting to follow these videos and make comments and that kind of thing. So please make sure that you do subscribe, otherwise you'll miss my next build, which is probably going to be another Necromunda tile. I think I'm going to go for a 4th tile to make a neat 2x2 to start off with. So if you subscribe, you'll get to see that. Please do leave comments down below. I love it to be able to read what you think about the models that I'm making, and I'm really interested in people's suggestions as to how I can make these better. Don't moan at me too much about my paint style. It's never going to change, and I'm doing most of this at the tabletop, but even so, I still think it looks pretty neat. So thanks very much for joining me at Magrathea Builder World. I'll see you next time.